How's it going? Today I'm replacing my carburetor on my 1981 CJ7 with a Motorcraft 2100 carburetor. So I figured, hey, why am I not filming this? So after looking a bunch of stuff up online, I followed the suggestions and I got this adapter. As you can see, the part number's down here, and there's the company that I bought it from. Over here, I removed the carburetor with these 4 base studs. I've removed 3 of them, and I was in the process of removing this one when I decided to do this. So remove those 4 bolts and the fuel line and all the other vacuum hoses. The one thing that I was having trouble doing actually was removing the studs, and I wanted to show, I used one of these, what do they call this, it's for making fence lines for ranches and such. But anyway, this just seemed to be perfect to break them loose. But I was thinking maybe a small pipe wrench, vice grips just weren't working for me. But this thing cracked it loose just super easy. So, yep. All right, I'll get this out of here and we'll move to the next step. All right, so going to install this adapter plate, and it comes with this warning saying to make sure that the butterfly and linkage don't get, messed up when you install this. Otherwise it can cause the throttle to stick. So what I did was I put this on the bottom of the carburetor and realized that if it's flipped the wrong way, if it sits this way versus the other way, then it could bind the carburetor. So an easy way to notate that is, you see on the left hand side, this screw hole right here, that's a longer arm than this one. So the short one sits towards the firewall on the intake. So like that. Now, the next question I have is, how do all of these screws fit together? There's no instruction manual with this adapter plate. So now, I'm not an expert or anything. Do what you want. If this catastrophically fails, I'll put it in the show notes when it happens. But the conclusion I've come to is that they send these nuts here. You see these? I'm attaching them to the end of the studs, placing the studs through here to put the new MC2100 Ford carburetor, Motorcraft carburetor, on the plate. And then we're going to use these Allen screws that came along now to attach it to the manifold. The only thing about the Allen screws is I just don't like the surface area that they butt up against, and there's no washers that fit inside these recessed spots. So I'm just going to do the best with what I got and what seems to make sense to me, and that's at this time what makes sense to me. So I'm going to tighten it up and see what happens. Okay, so I just realized that the new gasket, obviously for the bottom of the base plate, the adapter, is like super big, and I'm fearful that if I put it on there like that, it's going to tear away and then cause a leak. So you can see I'm holding up the old gasket over the new gasket for the base, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and that's just to show you an idea of what the base looks like. But in order to make that less prone to tear, I'm going to go ahead and just snip off these little tabs. So hopefully there won't be extra stuff to grab and tear there. Alright, so I've cut the gasket. There it lays. I'm going to put this on without any RTV silicone or anything. I'm just putting it on like it is here. Alright, so I'm tightening this down onto the intake. I do not know any torque specs. I don't know if I should put Loctite on this. If you guys have any suggestions, I am open to them. Please just leave them in the comments. I'm using a 5/32 Allen to tighten these in.
Dad!
Next, I'm assembling this stud as so. You can see this this nut here on the bottom. It has that collar or sleeve facing it up, and then it fits on there with a washer and a nut. Alright, so I'm getting it on here. Looks like 1/2-inch box in is the ticket for these nuts. Alright, I'll get her tightened up, and then I'm going to research the linkage and take a video of that as well. and so I will post another video about attaching the linkage. Again, I haven't done this before, so please, if you have any suggestions or if you've done this, leave your information in the show notes. Again, you know, whether or not there should have been Loctite on the bolts that held the adapter plate onto the intake, that would have been nice to know, and a host of other things. So any suggestions, feel free. Thank you.